Welcome to the SOS podcast. I'm your host, Tino Mtapati, and I believe one of the most important things you can do is sharing the journey as it unfolds. I believe you've got superhero level talent within you for something, and I just want you to find the origin story, embrace it, and use it to make a difference. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, today we've got an awesome guest, a very special guest who happens to be a very good friend of mine, Mr. Tony Willio. I don't know why I said Mr. I'm making this thing too formal. But anyway, Tony is the CEO and founder of Jacaranda Luna, a social media marketing company. People, Tony's services are alien. They are out of this world. Jacaranda Luna delivers top-tier services. So if you need a social media marketing strategist to help you reach your audience better, Tony is your guy. If you want to craft targeted content, Tony's your guy. And if you need a professional website done, you guessed it, Tony is your freaking guy. Anyway, without wasting any more of your time, let's jump right into it. Tony and I go way back. We've been friends since high school, and I think only in my second year, towards my third year, that's when I started really talking to Tony. We hit it off immediately. We became friends instantly. And so Tony is here to talk to us a bit about his story, his origin story, and a bit about not giving up, because he feels that although it's something that's commonly said, the message hasn't quite hit home yet. People are still giving up. So Tony, stage is yours. Please tell the people a bit about yourself, man.
Thank you for introducing me. That was a good intro. Hi everybody. My name is Tony Willio. I'm the CEO and founder of Jacaranda Luna, which is a digital marketing agency that helps you get more customers. Tino and I do go way back. We were in high school together. We became very close because we were the only ones with iPhones in the school.
Yeah. I forgot about that. You know, it's actually you were the first. You got the iPhone 4S. I was like, God dang, that's a really good phone. I'm gonna get one too. I might as well jump on. And I remember this vividly because I sold my PlayStation 3 to get an iPhone, which at the time made sense because right now an iPhone 4 is not worth a PlayStation 3. I think a PlayStation 3 is a bit more valuable right now, right? But at the time, I don't know. But
yeah.
We're the only ones with iPhones in the school, man.
And we were just chilling together. I remember I was at a table with our friends Naledi and all those other people. And then I remember I left to go talk to you about our iPhones.
I was like, God, I need to talk to somebody who understands me.
Someone that can relate.
By the way, this is not an iPhone sponsored video. Apple is not sponsoring this audio, this podcast in any way, shape, or form. But if you're listening, Apple, it would be nice.
It would be nice.
Yeah, sponsor Tony and I. Yeah. So you left. You came to talk to me.
But dude, and like our friendship kind of kicked off from that, and we had mutual friends. You were friends with Jay. We had friends from Leopoldse. We had friends from Delta Waters, which was our high school and stuff. So
you're actually close homies with my cousin, huh?
Say that again.
You're close friends with my cousin.
Oh Shabab. Yeah, as well. Yeah, Kaz. I was also really good friends with him as well. So it was just destined to be, you know.
Yeah. And the iPhone thing.
Exactly.
Common ground. You see, it's funny how a rectangle of glass and metal can, bring people together.
You know,
Apple, the only company that's not actually selling apples.
Exactly.
Connects people and then people become friends. It's insane. Yeah.
So yeah, it was destined to be, basically.
That's awesome, man. So Tony, your company has been around for about 8-9 months now.
Yeah, just started.
Yeah, and it's important for the people listening that Tony is here to share with us his origin story. He's going to share his journey. We're not really here to give people advice, but we just want to share with you the behind the scenes, the things that people don't talk about. So Tony,
Yeah.
Before we get to that, I guess people just want to know you on a personal level, like I do.
Yeah.
So tell me, man. Tell me what's your favorite thing to do?
Oh my God, my favorite thing to do. Wow, it's a lot.
Probably now it's changed because it's quarantine, so it kind of makes it narrows it down now.
Um, well, if I was to say my favorite thing to do would mainly be mountain biking right now because it's the most relevant thing that I've just started.
Dang, I thought you were gonna say calling Tina and talking about iPhones.
There's also that. There's
Yeah,
also that.
yeah.
But I mean, when I was a child, my favorite thing was video games or Dragon Ball Z. When I was a teenager, it was
Oh man,
motocross,
Dragon Ball Z. Whoa,
and
yeah.
then now I've actually like it's educating. It's education and learning. Funny enough, it's my favorite thing to do. It's the thing I do the most. I'm always reading. I'm always going through courses and stuff like that. At the same time, it's also mountain biking. I do still play video games every now and then, but I try to keep it at a bare minimum. Um, I'm always trying to
No, that's
produce.
cool. That's
So
cool.
I guess for me, my main thing is growth. That's what
Growth
keeps
and
me.
you use an interesting word there, produce. Like so you're really into trying to create something. You really want to bring something into this world and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Always putting something out there.
And for you to put something out, you got to put some knowledge in by reading books. What are you currently reading, though?
Funny enough, I'm still reading How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Um,
Amazing book,
it's
great
a
book.
great book. It's a great book, but
Mm,
because
mm.
I'm constantly trying to produce, I've kind of failed at managing my time and reading the book.
It's part of being human. I think people see business owners or people who are really ambitious as people who are always on, always getting it. Sometimes you do get a little sidetracked, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And that's completely okay. Yeah.
Currently, I'm on page 209, so I'm close to finishing. Close to finishing. Um, I
Well,
have I
I
have this slight addiction where I constantly collect books, and yeah, it takes me a while to finish them all.
they just look pretty on the bookcase. Like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a reader. People gonna think I'm smart, but no, the guy's actually smart. Guys, the guy reads. What's the most interesting thing you glean from the book?
The most interesting thing for
Mm,
me, it's pretty much everything because everything that I've learned from the book has opened my eyes to a lot. But one thing that
mm.
I'm very happy about reading was like do not engage in arguments.
Oh
Um,
yeah, avoid the acute angle. I think that's how we put it because I read the
yeah,
book one time. Yeah.
yeah, just avoid arguments. You're never gonna win them, even if you're right. And that to me was eye opening because I'm always debating with friends. The
Mm.
Android Apple warfare. The this is better than that. There's always that
Ooh.
argument.
Especially when we were in high school, we're like top gunners for iPhone. We were campaigning iPhone this, iPhone that. We'll get into arguments, debates, discussions. Yeah,
Exactly.
I definitely
Exactly.
agree.
And that's not how you win friends, and that's not how you influence people. So
Not
that
at
one
all.
was definitely. I mean, I'll admit it. I had a problem with debating. I always debated with people, and ever since I
But
read
why?
that concept.
Why do you think that is? Like, did you feel like that there was something people weren't getting? But like explain to us why exactly you loved
Um,
it.
it, funny enough, this is not the first time I've come across this concept.
Mm,
Um, but there was a time that I was studying, psychology while I was in high school, in Form
mhm.
5. Um, and Form 5 is basically, how would you say it in grade terms? That's
Uh,
grade 12.
I have no idea, but I guess we can just tell the listeners in terms of Cambridge terms. So that was Cambridge O's, no, Cambridge IGCSE around
Yeah,
that time, right? Yeah,
yeah.
I'm about to
So
sit your Cambridge
so
IGCSE
yeah,
exam.
that would be like some people would say grade 12, things like that.
Mm,
But
mm,
Yo, I kind of lost my. Oh, there we go. I was studying psychology. I kind of lost my train of thought there. I was studying
No, no, no.
psychology because I stumbled upon this ad on the internet while we were in the IT room. I kind of
Mm,
looked at it, started investing in the course and stuff like that. And within the course, the guy was like, "The reason why people argue is because they have belief systems. If you believe
mm,
something, anything outside of that belief system can be a problem, right? Your brain is focused on survival, and when somebody says anything outside of survival, you go into this defensive mode where you're like, no, 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 no,
mm.
no. There's no way that's possible because
Because
this and
I
this
know
and this and this and
ABC.
this.
Yeah.
Whereas, and the whole thing is the whole point is don't engage in the argument. There's different perspectives. Like when somebody looks at the number 6, somebody else looking from the other end is looking at the number 9. So it's the same concept. You don't need to engage in an argument. Understand the point from the other person's side of things, and
Mm.
then you can move on from there. So
You
the
just accept
concept
they're
from
a
Dale
whole different
Carnegie's book
person.
was very interesting because um, hold on, I'm just closing my door quick because the dog just left it open.
No
Um,
problem.
the concept from the
Wait, wait, wait,
concept
wait, wait, wait.
was just
Sorry
not
to
new to
disturb
me.
you. Your
To-
dog can open doors, man.
I
You're
I
good.
leave it slightly open and then
No, yeah,
he
yeah,
he just nudges it open and stuff. He's actually a
yeah.
smart dog though. So the concept of like not engaging in arguments and stuff like that is has been one that's it's not new to me, but
Mhm.
hearing it again is very important because now I know just don't act on it.
Yeah, I think a few things in life have to be repeated up until they really hit home.
Mm,
So you're like, don't argue, don't argue. At first, it's different. I think back then, growing up in high school, we were told, okay, don't argue. Okay, why? And then that's it. So it wouldn't stick. So I feel
exactly.
like Dale Carnegie's book articulated it quite well. And you're like, oh, okay, okay, okay. Now I understand why.
Yeah,
Whereas back then, I was just being told as if, people are afraid of confrontation or something.
exactly.
Mm.
Exactly.
But are there times that you have to debate, though?
Um, I mean, if it's um if everyone knows that they're debating, then yeah, then it's a
Mm,
great time to start debating and stuff.
mm,
I actually watched some of Jubilee's debates. The recent one I watched was the whole alien are aliens real, and then there were skeptics and then believers, which was an interesting
mm.
topic and stuff like that. But
People must have been going back and forth, I can imagine.
yeah. One technique that Dale Carnegie does teach is acknowledging the other person's point of view. And then instead
Mm,
of trying to push your beliefs or ideology on the person, take their perspective to consideration and then work through it together. And then if you guys have to Google it and research, go ahead and do that. And then
mm.
whoever's right, it's better that way rather than telling the other person that they're wrong. That's another thing is never tell people that they're wrong
Oh,
because it's offensive
mm.
and it just
Yeah,
drives
and people,
people away.
it's offensive and people really get defensive. So
Yeah.
basically, you've lost them. If you're trying to win them over to your way of thinking by telling them that they're wrong, you've lost them. And
Yeah.
it's funny. I know this. I've read the book, but I'm still trying to, get into that space where I don't tell people that they're wrong. I find myself doing it sometimes, and it's something that I have to work on. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really good point, man. Thanks for
It,
sharing.
the goal is
Mm,
all about making friends and influencing
mm.
people. So
Yeah, yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. Actually, when you said that your dog just left the door open,
yeah.
it reminded me about something he also said in that book, where he was like, you should become genuinely interested in other people. And he said, in
Mm,
summary, be like a dog. Dogs are always genuinely thrilled to see their human companions
exactly.
return, like from work, from school. And dogs have got no problem making friends. A dog is the only animal that doesn't have need to work for a living. That's insane. That's insane. If you think about it, even if you go to the bathroom, are you back? Are you back? When you coming back? And then you come back from the bathroom. Oh, I missed you. I missed you. Oh, the world was coming to an end. And the dog is just so pumped and
Mm,
genuinely happy to see you. And he said that if you approach your relationships with people like that, greet people with enthusiasm, be excited to see them, then you've got no problem making friends. And
exactly.
he really you know s- uh made the point more, like he really sealed it up by saying a dog is the only animal that doesn't need to work for a living. I was like, oh,
Mm,
think of it.
it's true.
I bought this dog. I feed him. I take him for a walk. you know Basically everything he needs. He doesn't have to do anything. Maybe back home is a bit different because some people use it, and unless your dog is part of the police force or something, then maybe.
Yeah, like
But
it's a guard dog or something like that. Then it's gotta work.
yeah, then that dog is dangerous if it's a guard dog, man. Yeah, so yeah, continue, man.
Yeah, and it's a great book. I highly recommend anybody that's listening right now to read it if you do want to self improve and stuff. Especially if you're in sales or if you're in any business type of thing, definitely read the book. It's great. It's a great book.
Awesome, man. Thanks for the recommendation. So let's get really into it, the deep stuff. So tell us, man, how would you describe your childhood?
I would describe my childhood as it was awesome. It was
uh,
awesome. My parents weren't very strict on me.
mm,
Like I didn't even have curfews growing up. As funny as it sounds.
wow.
Um, yeah, like as much as they would try to instill a curfew onto me, it just wasn't consistent. It
Mm.
wasn't something that I constantly do. My childhood was filled with Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah, man.
Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I've never watched Lion King, and I don't like it.
What? What?
Yep,
You
yep,
are not
yep.
African. Jesus Christ, Tony. The entire world has watched Lion King.
Yeah,
Even
I know.
people who don't speak English have watched that movie in their language. And you're telling me you've never watched Lion King? Man.
Never
Oh my God.
once.
Okay,
Never
okay.
once.
This is gonna turn into it's gonna move from an origin story or you telling us about yourself into me.
To an
Yeah,
intervention.
Tony intervention, me ranting and complaining that you've never watched. Anyway, I'm already about to start moving away from that. Let's move on to something positive that you actually said. People, please roast them in the comments below about this whole I'm not Lion King. We'll have a part chance to talk about this Tony Lion King intervention. But you mentioned Dragon Ball Z. Uh, not kind of
Yeah.
deviate. Well, it was part of your childhood, so I guess it's safe to say that one of the characters in that show was your favorite superhero, right?
Um, it's kind of funny. Everyone. The thing was, my watching Dragon Ball Z,
Mm.
I was so obsessed with the entire show. I liked Krillin. I liked Gohan. I liked Goku. I
Krillin.
liked Piccolo.
Krillin
I
is
liked
the
Vi-
last person I thought you'd mention.
I know, like
Yeah,
I was I didn't really have
a favorite character.
um, a favorite character. I just liked everyone. I just loved the show as a whole.
That's
And
me.
like obviously, as you grow up,
Mm.
you start to criticize the show a little bit because Akira Toriyama did become a little lazy when it came down to
Mm.
writing and stuff like that. Some people do criticize him for that, but I was so obsessed with the show, man. I didn't give a damn.
In your
I love.
in your eyes,
I was in it.
the writer could do no wrong.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm.
Even though now when I watch it, some characters do become a little annoying, but
Yeah, but I think
I love the show.
that's just it. If a character is annoying and they piss you off, I think that's the hallmark of really good writing. If a writer can put in a character that changes your emotional state, you get really pissed, annoyed, and then sometimes you love
Yeah,
that character, sometimes you hate him. And I think I felt that with Vegeta. I was like, God dang it, Vegeta. But then there are
yeah,
times where Vegeta is actually pretty dope. But I think that's what
yeah.
a good show is about, man.
Yeah, some people actually argue that Vegeta is the most human character in Dragon Ball Z
Interesting
because
enough, yeah,
some
yeah.
sometimes people have their moments. When he became Majin Vegeta, think about that as a relapse in drugs or a relapse in alcoholism,
Wow, man,
where
that
you
is
know,
so deep. I didn't even think about this way.
yeah,
I'm into superhero psychology and character psychology, but
Mm.
you mentioning that him being Majin Vegeta's like doing drugs again, that was like so powerful. Yeah, explain, man.
So like exactly, like Vegeta's story arc as a whole was him, he started out as a bad guy.
Mm, mm,
He's gone through a lot. He lost his father to Frieza killed his dad, and he grew up without a father. He only knew him as a child,
mm,
and he had to live his life under a ruler called Frieza. And Frieza, would torment him, but at the same time, his main focus was always to become strong. And then as he meets Goku, he meets this person that changes his whole perspective on life. Vegeta only cared about conquering and
mm. The
being
most
being
powerful.
the most powerful Saiyan in the
Yeah,
universe.
and when Goku was
And
introduced, he really shattered Vegeta's world. Yeah.
exactly. And all of a sudden you go from being this powerful Saiyan and now this what's supposed to be a lower class Saiyan has
Mm.
now, he's now mopping the floor with you.
Yeah.
How is that
Who
even
would think that
possible?
that would
And now he's befriended you, which is even worse because it's a huge ego hit.
Yeah, it's like
Now you're friends.
you know what? I'm gonna whoop your ass and then I'm gonna become your friend because I'm just a nice guy.
you know
Yeah.
and you know Vegeta's life, all of a sudden he's got children. He's got a kid called Trunks, and
Mm,
but he's still on this pursuit on becoming the most powerful Saiyan in the world.
it never really
And
goes
then
away.
all of a
Yeah.
sudden he's introduced to Majin Buu and the whole Majin and whatever, all that stuff.
Mm,
And he relapses. He becomes this bad guy again,
mm,
and all for the pursuit of you know being the best in the world.
mm,
And during his relapse, he realizes this isn't the way. This is not the way to do it. You
yeah.
know, he kills himself trying to take out Majin Buu. Obviously, that
No,
failed.
yeah.
But then he comes back. He comes back, and now his perspective is clear. Now he knows what he wants.
Mm,
He's happy with the family. He at first he questioned whether it was even worth you know
yeah.
all this, and now he realizes that it is worth
Mm.
it.
I think.
And his
Mhm.
yeah,
No, I think it's really important to highlight that the fact that he found something better instead of the pursuit of power
exactly.
and conquering. He settled down. He had a family, and for most people, that's important and that's cool.
Yeah,
And then this guy comes along, Margin, with the power that he was looking for all his life. So he starts to question, like you said, he questions whether did I really make the right choice. And then he
exactly.
picks Margin boost power. He gets to become a bad guy again, which is bad, and then he realizes this is not the way to do it. And I think it applies to real life in so many ways. People will make mistakes. Even if you think that they have it good, it's a very human thing to relapse. But bouncing back, getting
Exactly.
back up, and getting yourself right is the most important part.
Exactly. Life's just gonna come at you, and it's that fork in the road. People have been there before, where they feel like, I'm on this pursuit to become the best at what I do.
Mm,
You know, I'm on this path, and nothing can get in my way. And sometimes you realize that, yeah, you can still get there because Vegeta is still a very powerful character,
mm.
but there's other ways of doing it. There's a better way of doing it, and that's the path that he chose.
Yeah, man, that's so deep. Any
Yeah,
elements of the Dragon Ball Z series or the stories or Vegeta's story that resonated with you personally? Is there something that you went through in your life that made you
I
realize,
think
okay, this wasn't the way and stuff? Yeah.
I think I've actually experienced this with multiple characters.
Mm,
Um, with Vegeta, I remember when I was 16.
Yeah.
Um, you get into drinking alcohol with your friends and stuff. You get into experimenting with things like weed and stuff. Um, and then eventually I realized, like, yeah, weed just isn't for me.
Yeah.
I had that conscious decision where I was like, yeah, weed is just not for
It's
me.
not
And then
for
I
me.
stopped it. And I remember I was actually losing friends. People were like, yo, like, why don't you want to do this stuff with us? And I was like, well, my main focus at the time, and I think we'll get to this in a bit, was graduating high school
Mm.
and getting into university. That was always the plan, and I knew that if I was gonna go into this whole
It
path
would
of weed,
derail the plane.
it's just not gonna work for me.
Mm.
So that's one thing that I guess you could say it resonates with the whole Vegeta arc and that whole story. um, but at the same time, one thing that I've gained from like watching Goku, for example, is consistency.
Mm.
You know, consistency, always working hard, always striving for the next level.
Mm.
Goku didn't stop at Kaioken. He
Yeah.
stumbled upon Super Saiyan 1, then Super Saiyan 2, and then Super Saiyan 3. So there's always the next level to go after.
Mm.
The question is, are you going to stop? No, you're not going to stop. You should keep going. And you should always keep going
Right. That's
no matter
amazing.
what you're going through.
So would you
I
describe
mean, Goku died and was in Otherworld, and he kept going. So I think that's the kind of commitment you're supposed to have.
that guy was insane. You know, even if I die, I'm still gonna be committed. And
Exactly.
it stood out. It was I think that was one of his superpowers. And we're not talking about, transforming or blasts, but his that was the strong part of his character, the consistency part.
Exactly.
And you seeing that, would you say that you're also the type of person who's always trying to push the envelope and get to the next level and, push your limits? Are you that type of person?
Yeah, definitely.
How long
I
have you
think
been
and
that
and
person? Yeah.
I think it started when I was a kid, obviously, when I was watching Dragon Ball Z. I didn't know it at the time, but it was always something that I I guess it was something that was just within me.
Mm.
And I'm not sure if it was from watching the show or from other events within my life, but when I was a kid, I wasn't necessarily doing well with school. When I was in primary school, I was failing a lot. I even failed here in Botswana. We have this thing called Standard Seven, our Standard Seven test, the PSLE, which is your multiple choice questions and stuff like that. And I failed that miserably. Like it was bad. Um, and every kid around me had passed. Every kid was doing well and stuff like that. And throughout my whole primary school life, it was very difficult for me to just you know get my head into it and start taking school seriously. It was just so hard for me, and I never knew what exactly was the problem. I was going for special needs classes. I was going for everything, and it was just difficult.
Well, man, I never knew. I legit did not know this part of your story. But did you ever get to the bottom of it?
Yeah, I was always distracted. I was always, I just wasn't in it. And, my mom never gave up on me. She was always pushing me to go to school. So while I'm in primary school, I remember getting a quad bike, and that was my sort of entry to motocross. And I remember I was so competitive in motocross that I was like winning races and all of that stuff. And yeah, you know, I was winning trophies, going to Francistown, winning trophies, going to Gabs, which is our capital city, winning trophies. And it never really clicked in me how or where my success was coming from until I got into high school. So when I got into high school, I went to Delta Waters in Mount, and I remember Form 1, I was still kind of struggling a little bit. Form 2, still kind of struggling a little bit. I'm still trying to figure this out. I never gave up. I never stopped trying to figure out why the hell am I not doing so well in school. I want to do well, but at that moment in time, it was kind of like I kind of gave up. I was kind of just done. I was still trying, but man, it just wasn't clicking.
Man, I totally understand you because at that age, especially when you don't understand or when you don't have anyone to guide you or try to break it down for you, it's so easy to call it quits.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Next thing I know, Form 3 comes along, and then Form 4 comes along, and all of a sudden, Form 5 comes along. And throughout that time, that's when I start going to tutoring classes. I went to Iron Rock and stuff like that. And, it was slowly starting to click. That one-on-one lesson, the one-on-one lessons that I had, and literally my one-on-one tutoring class lessons would happen after school from 5 to I think it was 7. I'd go for my tutoring classes, and throughout, I think I started my tutoring classes in Form 4 or Form 5. Pretty late, like very late, because now we've got our main exams coming up. Yeah, and throughout those 2 hours from 5 to 7 of learning in front of my tutors, I was learning more than I was in the classroom. And I was like, I'll get into that just now. And I'm like, oh, that's so weird. Like, why is that? Fast forward, this was definitely in Form 5. Fast forward, like, this is probably like close to winter, I think it was. No, no, no. Early Form 5. I stumbled upon this ad on the internet. I forget which website I was even on, and it was a psychology class. And I was like, okay. I checked it out, and they had like a bunch of stuff. I invested in it. And there was this thing called their. It wasn't a master class. It was something else. It was yeah. It was. I think it was personality hacking. There you go, personality hacking. And the author of the whole personality hacking and stuff was running a master. It was like a master class type of thing, where he had a whiteboard and he was teaching people, but he was recording the lessons. And I started learning personality typing, body language. I started learning how to hack your own personality and know yourself. And all of a sudden, I'm learning. All right, I'm an introvert. I'm an intuitive thinker. All right, so this is how I learn. This is how I re-energize. This is how I take in information. I'm a difference-minded person rather than a same minded person. And basically, I look at the difference. Yeah, I look at the difference in things, whereas somebody else looks at the similarities in things. Simple things like that. And that's when I slowly started to realize, oh, this is how I learn. This is how I do things. And when I was in those tutor classes, those one-on-one sessions was great because hello, I'm an introvert. This is how I re-energize. And yeah, even though I'm speaking to one person, technically I'm supposed to be losing energy. But it's great for me because I don't have too many distractions. I've got one focus, and that's that one person. And it's what they're teaching me. And that's when it all started to click for me. It was like a light bulb like literally went off. Next thing I know, I'm getting past papers for the Form 5 IGCSE examinations, and all of a sudden I'm kicking ass. I'm kicking ass in maths, English. I'm kicking ass in geography, agriculture. I'm all like, and this was within a space of literally, I
Mm.
would say 1 year and a few months, because it was very late when I got into this stuff.
I genuinely believe that once you know the kind of learner you are, it doesn't take you time for you to master everything because you know what works for you and what doesn't. So I guess this is exactly what was happening in your case. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. One of my personality types is I'm also a thinker. I'm not emotional. So I'm constantly in my head thinking. I'm an overthinker. So I'm curious about a lot of things. I'm very curious about a lot of things. And one thing I was very curious about was how the hell am I gonna pass school? um, um, so while I was like, stumbling upon this stuff, all of a sudden we go through our exams, and I remember like even doing my maths, I wrote core because it was already too late. It was already too late to start doing things like extended and stuff because it was late when I stumbled upon this stuff. I'm in the exam room and I'm writing my exams. I didn't want to say anything to anybody, but every time I left the exam room, I was confident that I did very well. And that was because I was following this roadmap of how I do things or the best way for me to do things. I was doubling down on my strengths and sort of working on my weaknesses as I go. You don't leave those behind. And results come back. I just made it. I got enough points to go to university, and I was like, holy cow, I did it. I actually did it, and I was like, wow, okay, I guess I gotta pick a university out now. So my mom was so happy. She was like, holy shit, you did it, dude. Like, and and my dad was also happy and stuff like that. And then, you know, all of a sudden we're going down to Gabs and we're picking out universities. So, eventually I picked out uh Limco Queen, and I just doubled down on the same principles. The same damn principles. And literally that's what led me to graduating and getting my degree. And mind you, I was studying 3 courses in university. I was studying software engineering with multimedia because that was a bundled package within the university. And then I was studying marketing outside of university because I was actually interested in marketing.
Wow, man. That is incredible. I respect the fact that you went outside uni to look for a course that was in alignment with your interests. Because a lot of people are like, okay, what I'm interested in is not offered by the university, so I'm just gonna chill. But you took an initiative, and that's very commendable.
Yeah, thank you.
I think for the benefit of those who don't know, Tony is currently, or was, sorry, Tony was studying software engineering at the University of Limco. But Tony, I gotta ask, before you even went to study this course, is it something that you always wanted to do? Did you know from the get go that this is the course that I want to enroll into?
No, no, no. It was very impulsive. University. The reason why I went into software engineering because I had a general interest in computers. I loved, as you know, I was always playing video games, and
Bro, we played video games all night together.
yeah, 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 exactly. So like, I was interested in, all right, like how do I build a computer? I was interested in that. How does this software work? I was interested in that, and I knew that I was kind of more interested in the software side of things than the actual physical computer side of things. So when software engineering and computer science were in front of me, I was like, software engineering is the way for me. And I stumbled upon marketing like later. I think I was in my second semester or third semester, or maybe in between. Yeah. And then I was like, let me pick up marketing. I'm interested. And then
So was this like an elective course offered by
totally
university?
outside. It was another ad, funny enough, that I stumbled upon. And because I now know how I learn and stuff, it's different when you don't know how you learn and you don't want to take on the intellectual task of picking up a book and reading it. Or because to backtrack a little bit, with the whole motocross thing, I had guys teaching me and telling me, all right, when you get into this corner, this is how you're supposed to take the corner. You're supposed to lean on the bike this way. You're supposed to, you know, and I didn't know it at the time, but that was mentorship. That was like, it was like mentoring. And I remember waking up every Sunday because they call it a weekend warrior. It's when you practice every weekend. I would wake up every morning at 5 o'clock, no problem, no alarm, nothing. You get up, shower, put some petrol in the bike, head to the track, and start racing. And I didn't know it at the time. These people were like they were mentoring me, and that's where my like success came from. Is that one-on-one session with the person teaching you, and then you implement, and all of a sudden you're learning, right? Whereas in school, it wasn't that easy for me. I'm in a class. There's so many people. Some people are having conversations. Some people aren't. I couldn't concentrate because there was so much in front of me, so much going on.
This is where the mentor, especially in your case, was very crucial because you got that one-on-one time. Nobody else, just you and him. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So that it was something that happened naturally, and all of a sudden, I stumbled upon it again, and now I know how to systematically implement the same principles of how I learn, of how I take in information. And now all of a sudden I go from this primary school kid who I don't want to read books, I don't want to you know educate myself anymore because it's so difficult, to now all of a sudden I have this book collection that I'm constantly on the hunt for books. I mean, if you look at my book collection,
Flex your super cool book collection, Tony. Flex on him.
yeah, exactly. All of a sudden, books is cool to me. You know, I'm so grateful to the fact that I've stumbled upon something. I'll tell you this, right? If you're listening, if you're somebody that's you're dealing with just mental issues, right? I remember reading this one little quote by this. It was actually by a Botswana influencer. I forget his name currently, but he said the line between mental illness and laziness is blurred. And I remember watching or looking at that post, and I was like, that is so true.
People think they've got a mental illness when in fact
Uh-huh.
they're just lazy. But anyway, repeat it one last time for the people who didn't get that.
Line between laziness and mental health problems is blurred, right? It's heavily blurred. And basically, I've had this argument with my friends a lot, and that is, personally, I believe that there isn't that many people that have mental health issues. And this is like, people are probably gonna like go onto my Twitter and stuff like that and fucking blast me for saying this because, look, I'm not an expert for mental health. This is like literally how I view it is there's not that many people um, that have mental health issues. This is what I believe. And the reason why I believe this is because people don't understand who they are. See, when I stumbled upon the whole um, psychology courses and stuff, and I was self educating and learning and becoming the person that I am today, I really didn't understand who I was. I remember from my first breakup with my first girlfriend in high school, I was a mess because I was so emotional. I was so, I was down. I wasn't myself, and I didn't know why. Right?
Yeah, that's perfectly understandable, especially when you're in high school. More especially when she is your first girlfriend, it becomes hard to deal with that emotion because you don't know why you're feeling that way. Well, you know, but you just don't know how to cope with it. But what are the biggest lessons that you got from the breakup?
Um, the lessons that I carry from that breakup, wow. Don't lose yourself. I think it's a common thing for people to get emotional, and once you get this fluster of emotions and you're going through puberty, it can be a lot to handle. And I remember I lost myself. It was only until that psychology lesson that's when I realized, oh, this is how I keep it in gear. This is how I come back. And I remember stumbling upon the course after the breakup, because I remember during the breakup I was very emotional. You know, you're going through all these hormones and all this other stuff. So yeah, 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 and so exactly. And to go back to my point about the whole mental health and stuff like that, and the reason why I believe that there's not that many people that have mental health issues is you're going to hear it from everywhere. People try not to take on any tasks, and they'll probably give an excuse like, I have ADHD, I have um, dyslexia and stuff like that. And I've seen a lot of my mentors say that those are your superpowers right there. Having ADHD, I think it stands for hyper attention uh, something something, right? Where you can't sit down. You're energetic. You're always moving around and stuff like that.
There's a couple of people that I know that
Yeah.
actually use that as a strength.
Guess what? That's your superpower. Grant Cardone has ADHD. He's constantly moving. He's constantly doing something. Imagine if you could target that energy towards one goal. Imagine that.
This guy was extremely lucky because he understood the type of person he was. He knew that he had
Yeah.
ADHD. Oh, sorry if I'm probably butchering this, but he used it to his advantage, and he didn't even view it as weakness at the
Exactly.
time.
And that's the power of knowing who you are. See, yeah, there are some other issues with ADHD. I'm not trying, like I said before, I'm not an expert, so I'm not trying to say that, oh, it's a good thing to have ADHD. No, no, no. But there's a lot of people out there that believe they have mental health issues when they actually don't. They're just really emotional. They're just, constantly stopping themselves from doing something. I've even had this argument with my sister once. My sister used to tell me, uh, I'm depressed, but you look at the environment around you. My sister was always listening to sad music, breakup music, little things like that. And it's like, and it's
It's those little things that you put in,
yeah, exactly.
and before you know it, you're dishing out what you're
You
putting
know,
in.
you know, if you're constantly listening to emotional stuff, or you're constantly keeping negativity around you, well, what do you expect? You know, what do you expect? Like literally, what are you hoping to come out of that? Come out of you listening to depressing stuff, right? And it might sound like it's a little bit kumbaya-ish to do this and stuff like that, but keep the negativity away from you. That's like the only way you're gonna move forward. You get what I mean? No business owner that has a successful business goes into their office and then has their employee says, "Holy shit, this business sucks." And that business owner is expecting the business to succeed. You get what I mean? No one thinks like that. When you walk into the workplace of a successful company, everybody thinks or everybody has a confidence that they're going to deliver the best service to you. Even if you know that you've gone to their competition, and their competition might give you a better service, in order for them to stay competing and stuff, the other business has to realize that, you know what, we're good at what we do, and we believe in ourselves. No business ever made it by being a complete cynic. No business owner has ever made it by being a 100% cynic and saying, the world is ending. Um,
You know, at some point, everyone who is a business owner does believe inherently that their business will succeed. They are
yeah.
realists,
And
but at the
sometimes,
same time, they're
oh yeah,
massive idealists. You can't expect your employees or clients to believe in your business more than you do. It's your business. It's not their business. Literally, it's none of their business. It's not their business. You should believe in your business. It's super cool to get praise and compliments from people outside, to get gassed up. Trust me, there is a place for those things. But if it's your primary source of self esteem or self belief, then you've got a real problem. Listen real close, people. I genuinely believe that it is okay to get
Yeah.
gassed up, to receive compliments and praise from the people around you, from the people who care, especially from the people who care. But at the end of the day, there's no one's opinion that matters more than your own. Your opinion should matter most. It's fine to receive it from the outside, but your opinion, your personal opinion matters most. While on the topic of opinion, I once read in a book by a South African businessman and author. He said that a friend articulated this to him so well, and the friend said something like, if you constantly worry about people's opinion about you, then do nothing. And if you do nothing, you'll be nothing.
Exactly. And it's the point is, I guess the point that we're trying to make is, when it comes down to you having mental issues every now and then and stuff like that, ask yourself, man, am I being lazy? Maybe I'm not. Maybe I don't have mental issues. You know, maybe I'm just a skeptic. Maybe I'm a cynic. Maybe I should take the shot.
There's
You
this
know?
beautiful, beautiful quote by one of my mentors in the UK. He's a life coach in the UK, and he said that the cave you fear to enter may hold the treasures you seek. So take the shot. Enter into that cave. You
Exactly.
never know unless you do it, you know?
So that was another thing. Man, I forget why we were talking about mental health issues.
I think you're just trying to say how
Oh,
easy
yeah.
it would have been for you to diagnose yourself with a mental illness had you not, found out what type of learner you were.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And so like I said, like, I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have graduated. I wouldn't have picked myself up from the trench that I was in if I didn't believe in myself. Because for me, school was a bit of a hurdle. It was a bit of a marathon for me, but I pulled it off. I managed. The people that were in my primary school that looked at me as like, okay, where's this kid going with his life? All of a sudden, they're like, holy shit, like, he can actually do something. I think one thing to put out there is, experience is key. Experience is currency to your survival. Experience is everything. If you can, so let's just say you're a salesperson, right? And you're scared to go speak to your customer, right? And you've got all the tools available. You can have all the tools available. I actually posted this on my LinkedIn today. Application is power. Um, I say that application is power, not knowledge. I don't think knowledge is power. If I give you a treasure map, right? And you know that this has got, there's gold, there's money. You're like, if you go get this treasure, you will never have to worry about working ever again, right? If I give you that treasure map and you don't act on it, what was the point of the knowledge, right? What was the point? What were you, like? What the hell was the point? You literally wasted your time looking at this treasure map because you're not going to act on it, right? Whereas, guess what? And this was a kick to the butt for me, because this was a very important concept for me to understand. Because I was self-educating a lot, but at some point I'm supposed to implement. You can educate as much as you want, and it will give you a certain level of confidence. But if you don't take action, your confidence is always going to be limited, right? So if you don't act on going for the treasure or going for the gold, you wasted your time getting that knowledge. Whereas there are people out there, literally people out there, that have no idea what they're doing, and they're making a killing. There are guys out there that can go up to a girl, flirt with the girl. They don't know they don't know how to flirt. They can't explain it to you, right? Have you ever done something naturally and you can't explain it, but you're good at doing it? Experience is everything. So as long as you keep doing, you'll have a better chance of succeeding. Another thing that I like, another saying was, if you give up you have 100%, you're 100% guaranteed to never succeed, right? Right? Let's just say you like, let's just say you're a mathematician. This is gonna like resonate with you. Um if you if you quit now, you are 100% guaranteed to never succeed in whatever the hell it is you're trying to accomplish, right? So if like when I was younger, right, before stumbling upon the whole ad for the psychology classes and stuff like that, we were trying so many things, so many things. I went to a neurologist in South Africa. I went to lots of doctors. I've even had CAT scans done to me. I've had what else? I've had omega-3 pills, and I would take them like every day to try to help me concentrate and stuff like that. And they just weren't, I mean, they would do something. You'd get that little win, but it wasn't consistent. It wasn't for the long term. You get what I mean? We never stopped. We never stopped. It's like you're digging for gold or a diamond. You know that meme where you're digging for a diamond? And there's the one guy that just gives up. He's like, "Oh, screw this." Like, and he was almost there. And then there's the other guy who's just a madman and he's going for it. That was me in school, where you're just going for it. Like, you're gonna keep, like, I'm failing and I'm constantly receiving failures in my face. Like, it's all right, you got a D on this, you got a C on this, you got a D on this, you got a C on this. And you know, as you're still pushing to get that certificate for for Form 5 and for university, that degree, you're constantly trying to implement a system in place that betters your chances of succeeding, because there's no guarantee that if you go to school you're going to be successful, right? It's the systems that you implement that allow you to succeed. And that's literally what we were kind of like looking for, between my mom and I, with going to the neurologist and stuff like that. And then once I stumbled upon the psychology classes and stuff, that is when I stumbled upon the systems in place that is going to allow me to succeed, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense, bro. There's this song, like what you just said, reminded me of this song. I can't remember by who, but I think it was on the soundtrack of Fast Five. It was like, never fear death or dying, only fear never trying. And I think we can kind of remix it and put our own spin on it and say, never fear failure or failing, only fear never trying.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, we learn through trial and error. And you are a prime example of that, Tony. Well, tell your mama that we're extremely grateful for her. Man, she did a tremendous job by not giving up on you. And man, it's very evident, like talking to you today, and it's been evident throughout our entire friendship, bro, up until this point, that she placed that same fighter spirit within you. And I'm so glad. And
Yeah.
shout out
So
to all the
like
mamas who do that.
the
Man,
the
your
point
mom
that I
deserves
was
a
I was
medal,
making
man.
with
Shout out to
the
her.
whole, going to the neurologist and stuff like that, is we tried everything and we never gave up. And I knew that, looking back now, right? Now, knowing what I've accomplished throughout my school, was, if we had given up, I would never be here. I wouldn't have this degree. I wouldn't have um, you know, graduated high school. I would not have this stuff, literally, if I had given up. And then, I feel like this is another concept with like success as a whole, whether you're like trying to be a business owner, as like, if you're trying to be a business owner, or if you're trying to be a freelancer, or whatever. And I think this also applies to employees as well, is that there's no guarantee that you are going to be successful in whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, right? Think about it. There's no guarantee that you're going to be successful in school. Like, there was no guarantee for me. There was no guarantee that you're even supposed to be alive right now, right? But we have systems in place. We have systems in place that allow us to accomplish things, right? Think of a basketball player, right? For example, a basketball player has a coach, right? That coach has experience, and they have the correct knowledge to show you the way, right? It's your job to implement and stuff like that. The only way you're gonna beat the other team is if you practice and implement and learn, right? So we all acknowledge the fact that there's no guarantee that if you go through this training, you're gonna win the highest title in the NBA. But there's no guarantee. But you get a better chance if you train and if you keep doing it. And I think that that's a concept of life, is just keep going, because the whole point is to be in a position that allows you to be successful, to fulfill that role of a successful person, whether you're a guy or a woman. It doesn't matter who you are, right? Yeah, the point is, don't ever stop, right? Let's not be delusional, right? If we're really bad at something, then it's probably best to just move on, you know. And that's literally how I view life now. It's trial and error. It's failures. It's success. But it's constant motion. It's constant activity. It's constant. You're constantly doing something, And I wish I knew this concept when I was a kid, because then life would have been a breeze.
You and me both, brother. But the great thing about this right now is that we know it right now, so we can implement it as soon as possible.
Exactly.
And the thing is, it's something that needs to be worked on daily, literally daily, because giving up is so easy. Fearing failure is very easy. I find myself constantly having to redefine my relationship with failure, because sometimes I'm afraid to fail and I'm stuck in one spot and I'm not doing anything. And that's a dangerous spot to be, man.
And it's all about growth. It's all about growth.
Exactly. It's all about growth.
Man, I don't even know how to end it better than that. So, thank you so much, bro, for coming through. This has been such a great conversation, so insightful, so informative, and I just learned a lot of things from you, man. And I'm so glad you could come into the studio and chop it up with me. Well, in the virtual studio, but I'm so glad that you actually made the time to sit down with me and record this episode, man. I appreciate you so much, man. And I've just had a ton of fun.
I appreciate you too, fam. I'm the full package. Put me on Amazon, I will sell, Baba.
Mr. Tony Willio, you don't take hostages, fam. You don't take. I've got no doubt. And man, it's been awesome. But man, before we wrap it up, I'm sure the people want to know how they can find you on social media, where they can find you on social media.
At Tony Willio on pretty much every platform. At Tony Willio on Instagram. That's TonyWellio. You can hit me up on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and we can get connecting and we can talk.
Thank you so much again, guys, for tuning in. I appreciate you guys immensely. And again, please help this episode go viral. This is the content that really needs to be out there, causing paradigm shifts, impacting hearts and minds. And for more after the show, please click on the link in the description of this episode. And we will send you a link to the private Facebook group where you get to interact with myself, the awesome guests you find here on the show. You also find show notes and links to the things that we would have spoken about here on the show. Till then, guys, I promise to keep providing powerful and empowering content that will help you become the hero that you are meant to be. Guys, if you love this episode, please head over to SoundCloud and give us a rating to let everybody know that the show is awesome. Up until the next time, bye-bye.